Dick Tracy issue number 2. That's right, folks. Mad Cave is delivering us the goods when it comes to Dick Tracy. He's back at it, doing some crazy stuff. It's kind of exciting. I feel like we're seeing a resurgence of these characters again. Like this type of character. The old school, like, pulpy hero doing stuff. I really feel like we're 1 year or so, whatever, away from seeing like a Popeye revival in some iteration, whatever that could be. But Dick Tracy's back. We're doing like a hardcore detective thing, which makes sense. This feels very modern while still feeling timeless, like you would see from Dick Tracy, because the book is not set in the present day, which is very important because it would just make no sense. Dick Tracy is not a character that should exist in a world with cell phones or camera footage or drones. These people live in like a stylized world. That's all they should live in. We open up this issue and we are introduced to another classic Dick Tracy character. This time it is Pat Patton, and you are maybe familiar with him. He's appeared in a couple of the comic strips here and there. But he's going to the docks because he's talking to Mr. Itchy because he wants to get some work on the docks. He heard through his brother that, if you come to the docks, you could get work, because you're a vet and vets get work at this place. But Mr. Itchy's like, I don't know you. You're not working for me. He gives them a fake name because we find out it's like a huge ploy and that Pat Patton is actually trying to like get information on what happened to his brother. So he kind of gets into a fight with a couple of the goons. He eventually gets thrown out. And that's when we see the person who's behind all the illegal dealings going on the docks. And who shows up? It's Lips Manless. It is Pruneface. He's like, I knew it. I knew it was Pruneface. So Pat Patton's in the book, and so is Pruneface. The whole gang is coming together. We then cut to an interrogation sequence where Dick Tracy is trying to get some information out of Mumbles, but he's mumbling worse than ever before. Like, he's just shaking and he's sweating. He can't get anything out. He's just a nervous wreck. And then, like, the chief of the station shows up like, Dick, we got to take him into, like, protective custody. It's been 24 hours. We got nothing out of him. It's protocol, my man. People are going to come after him. We have to keep him safe. If we can actually get some information out of him, that's what we're going to do. And the chief says, you got to get some rest, Dick. Like, you're looking worse for wear. So Dick Tracy's going to get some sleep. And while he's doing so, he's going to have like a dream or a nightmare. I guess it's more like a nightmare about the war. And it's just a couple pages where we see Dick Tracy and Pat Patton in war, and they're just killing people and having nightmares, and Dick keeps having flashbacks, memories of his present self just watching his like soldiers and his brethren die, and it's terrifying and awesome. So he wakes up because the phone next to him starts ringing. It's Tess Trueheart, and she's like, hey, I figured out some information. Like, I broke into Langdon Marsh's office, and I got some information on like some shady deals going on, some development stuff for like gated communities and like rich people getting richer and stuff. And a name keeps popping up, and it's the name of Mumbles. So I think we got to figure out what he knows about this new thing. So Dick heads out to go investigate that. We then get a nice scene at a dinner where Pruneface just having a nice pleasant meal. He's clearly bought off everybody in the area. And Pat Patton comes over to talk to him because we know Pruneface owns the police. Pat Patton is escorted out of there, just showing you that there's trouble afoot in the city, and people are trying to get a hold of Pat Patton. He's asking the wrong questions. He's escorted to the police station just as we see Dick Tracy shows up. They're two buddies from the war. They reunite, realizing they're kind of working the same beat. They're trying to figure out the same stuff that got involved, like the Green Eye killings or the Green Eye murders. But Pat doesn't want to like have the conversation in public. Not with the cops around because they're clearly bought off. So he's like, we can't talk here. But they're going to kind of have to because that's all we know. So, two guys working the same beat. It's awesome. Nothing beats a classic like detective and his partner who's just like a little more gruff, doing his own thing, but they work together. I love that stuff. It's just so much fun. We then cut to, outskirts of the city where Mumbles is being put into protective custody, but we also see that the police are bought off. And somebody shows up. It's Flattop. Of course it is. The people that are like protecting Mumbles, they kind of like walk away until a Flattop do his thing. But a boom, 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 boom. Mumbles is killed by Flattop. He's dead. We cut back to Dick and Pat having their conversation. We see that Tess walks in and she's like, I was kind of figuring some stuff out. Another classic thing from a detective story is just like the female character knows how to do everything while the men just talk about stuff. So she went through all the recordings from the messages they had of Mumbles, and she realized that he keeps putting like certain enunciation on specific letters and specific things, and she got a name out of it. And the name is Lips Manless. So it's Pruneface. Pruneface is ready to do some damage. We got to figure out how he's connected to all this. A new player has entered the game. We were just thinking that it was Flattop and Mumbles doing some stuff, but now Pruneface is here, and there's arguably a bigger bad just waiting around the corner. So we cut to some nice-looking neighborhood, and we see that Lips Manless is just talking to one of his enforcers, and this guy's like, hey, something came up with Mumbles. He's like, well, I don't care about Mumbles. What do you mean? He's dead. He's like, what do you mean he's dead? He's like, yeah, he got caught. It was Flattop. They snuck off between shifts. They killed him. He's like, what? Shit. So Pruneface tells his kids to go inside, and he tells his informant, like, all right, you know what we got to do. It's the thing we've always been doing in situations like this. We got to prepare for war. And that's where the book ends. Because it looks like Pruneface is about to go to war with Flattop, and we have our trio of Dick, Pat, and Tess who are going to have to be the good guys in a war of the gangsters, which is just really fun. You really played into like the themes of like war and like vets survival, which I appreciate. That's like a fun area to play with. I do enjoy that. It's really interesting. Doing something like this, doing something different. It's so much fun. This book continues to be interesting and unique. I just appreciate it. I'm glad we can have a Dick Tracy book exist in this era that feels like it belongs in this era while still being timeless to the stuff we saw before. That's really exciting. So, Dick Tracy, issue number 2, I am going to give a 7 out of 10. Now, thank you all for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And of course, I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.